Hi, my name is Nicholas. Welcome to this week's Hatha practice. For props for today, I suggest a couple hard blocks and a soft block, and then anything else you like to have around. I'll offer a bind at some point too, so if you want to have a strap for that, then go for it. When you're ready, we'll get started in a seated position, so maybe sitting up off of one of your props, and choose whatever feels the most comfortable, the most steady in your body. So if cross-legged doesn't work, feel free to come to kneeling or any other position. You can also lie down if you like. If you're finding a seat, then take a moment to notice the parts of the body that are touching the floor. Gently start to ground them down. And from there, see if the spine starts to feel a little taller. Maybe invite a little more room across the chest. Maybe a little more length through the back line of the neck. Notice what the shoulders feel like here. And you might inhale and lift the shoulders up towards the ears, and then exhale to soften them down. Maybe doing that a couple more times, and then letting them settle as you're ready. And see where you want the arms, see where feels the most comfortable, maybe hands to the knees or the lap. And if it feels okay to close down the eyes, then go for it. Otherwise, maybe find an unmoving spot to look at. And continuing to check in with the body here, just noticing what everything's feeling like. Without judgment, without the need to change anything. And when you feel settled and ready, gently invite the breath to deepen here. Notice the gentle rise and fall of the chest and belly. Notice the gentle flow of air through the nostrils. Notice the quality of the air as it enters your nose with each inhale. What does that feel like? Does the air feel kind of dry, kind of cold? And then as the air flows back out, what does that feel like? Maybe it's a little warmer, a little more humid. if at any point during the practice you find the mind is starting to wander, maybe it would be helpful to bring your attention back to this flow of air in and out through the nostrils. And if you need a little more time in this shape, then you're welcome to stay. And when you feel ready, any way you like to get there, make your way to child's pose. And keeping the eyes closed, perhaps, keeping the movement slow, perhaps coming to find a wide knee variation. But if it feels better to have the knees together, then go for it. Give the hips a gentle rock side to side, let them settle in. Maybe a gentle rock for the forehead. And keeping the arms extended forward, walk the hands towards the top right corner, maybe a little bit beyond. And then imagine you can make that left hip really heavy. Find that stretch through the left side, from the hip all the way up to the wrist. And breathe a few deep breaths. And slowly walk the hands back to center, and then over to the top left corner. Making that right hip really heavy now. Find that stretch to the right side. Imagine you can send your breath there. And slowly walk the hands back to center. And now pull the body up to a tabletop position, setting the hands roughly underneath the shoulders. You can have palms flat, or you can work from fists or even blocks. Knees roughly underneath the hips now. With an inhale breath, let the belly sag down, lift the heart space, lift the gaze. And with your exhale, chin towards the chest, dome the upper back. Inhale, lengthen through the front body. Exhale, press the hands to the floor, lengthen through the back body. And then adding on, if you like, inhale, lift the gaze this time, shoulder check the right shoulder. And exhale, chin to chest to dome. Other side with your inhale, lengthen front body, look left. And exhale, back to center. A few more just like this, side to side, or you can keep going in the middle. A couple more each side. Inhale, return to tabletop. And now, keeping the knees roughly underneath the hips, start to walk the hands forward once again, and we'll come and find a puppy dog pose, letting the chest, the forehead melt towards the floor. And if the floor feels a little far away, feel free to slide a prop underneath. And keeping the arms extended, the palms flat, somewhat active to the floor. You might even grip the finger pads into the floor a little bit. And then from here, imagine you're sending your hips even further back. And find a stretch through the side body, through the armpits, even into the arms. And breathe here. Awesome. As you feel ready, start to walk the hands back in under the shoulders and come to your tabletop position. And once again, working with palms flat or from fists. And this time we'll send the right leg straight behind. You might even take a peek, see that the hips stay roughly level to one another. Foot flex like you're stomping the wall behind. And you can work with just the leg, or you can reach the opposite arm forward. Take a deep inhale, and then exhale, knee towards the elbow. Inhale, re-extend, lengthen, and exhale, round in. And 5 more with your breath. Last 3, maybe adding a little squeeze at the end of the exhale. Awesome. When you finish your last round, take an inhale, extend, lengthen, and then lower hand to knee. And we'll set up for the second side. If anything needs a little shakeout, then go for it. Left leg extends back. Maybe check in with the hips, foot flexed. Maybe right arm reaches forward. Deep inhale and exhale. Inhale, stretch, and curl in. 5 more. Last couple. Last one. Inhale, stretch, and hand and knee lower. Hips towards the heels. Come and find a kneeling shape. If this doesn't work for you, then maybe a seat instead. And hands to the lap. Close down the eyes. And settle the body here. Reconnect with your breath. Only when you feel ready to move again, you can make your way back to tabletop. And from here, we'll lower down onto the elbows. Keeping the elbows roughly underneath the shoulders, you can have the hands together or the forearms parallel. See what works best for your body. Check in with the shoulders here, make sure that they're okay with the shape. And then as you're pressing the forearms to the floor, step one foot and then the other to the back of the mat, coming to your forearm plank. See if you need any adjustment here. At any point, you can lower the knees to the floor for a more supported version. If there's any pressure to the low back, you could also lift the hips a little higher and see what that feels like. Wherever you are, continuing to breathe and maybe softening the facial expressions if they're starting to tense. Maybe closing down the eyes. And even here, can you notice that air flowing in and out of the nose? What does the air feel like? Last couple of deep breaths. And stay here. Take one last inhale and then lower the knees, lower the pelvis, lower the chest down to the floor. Taking the hands nice and wide now, you can work from fingertips or from palms flat. And then with an inhale breath, press the pelvis down, press the toenails, lift the chest any amount. And then exhale to lower down. Again, like that. Inhale to lift. And exhale to lower. Adding on, inhale, lift, check the right shoulder. And then exhale down. Inhale, look left as you lift. And then exhale down through center. And keep going with your breath side to side. And take one last round each side. As you lower down, pause, and then take the hands under the shoulders, tuck the toes, and press through tabletop, and then we'll come to downward facing dog so you can adjust your base any way you need. And when you're ready, you can press the hips up and back. It'll probably feel nice to pedal the heels a little bit here, maybe shake the hips, rock the shoulders, do anything you need to do to settle into your shape. You can also adjust the proportions of the shape to accommodate your body. And keep the hands pressing the floor to stabilize the shoulders. And keep the spine nice and heavy. The head can dangle. And the feet stay anchored. The hips stay high. Last couple deep breaths here. All right, when you feel ready to, with an inhale, lift the left leg all the way up behind you. And with your exhale, step the left foot forward between the hands, and you can lower the back knee to the floor. And take a moment to set up this low lunge. You can pad the back knee if it feels sensitive. You can also take the left foot a little bit wider apart if you need more space for the hips or for the chest. We're going to take some twists here, so it might be helpful to bring a block for that right hand just to bring the floor a little closer. You can use any height setting. You might even take that right hand a little further to the right. As you're ready with an inhale, lift the left arm up any amount, turning the chest and the gaze to the side. And then as you exhale, turn back towards the floor, you can wrap the left arm around the left leg. Inhale, open up. And exhale, round in. 5 more with your breath. Last couple. Last one. Awesome. With your inhale, stay low. You can walk the left foot just a little bit back to center. Now lift the back knee up and spin the back heel to the floor. So right toes pointing towards the right. And then you can use a block now underneath the left hand. You can bring it to the inside of the left leg. And we'll set for extended side angle. So you can use any height setting for that. Sink the hips a little bit, reach the right arm up and over. And then find that nice long stretch from the right fingertips to that right side of the right foot. Gaze can be wherever you like. Keep that strong line going. Mindful of that left leg as well. And you can skip the movement here if you'd rather be in stillness or if you're feeling a little dizzy. Otherwise, when you're ready, with an inhale breath, you can come all the way up, extend the front leg, reach the left arm up and back. Block can come with you. And then as you exhale, come back to your extended side angle. So left hand down, right arm up and over, left knee bent. And then with your breath, inhale, come up. And exhale, come down. And we'll do 4 more. Last couple. And you can match the movement to the breath. So if you need to be moving a little faster, if you're feeling out of breath, then go for it. Last one. All right, a little different. Inhale, come all the way up, stretch. And now for triangle, with your exhale, reach forward as far as you can, and then hinging from the hips and coming down into your shape. You can use any height setting for your prop. Top arm can be reaching straight up. You can still reach it towards the front if you want more side body stretch. Maybe a half bind here would feel good as well. Notice how much weight is going into that left hand. Imagine that you could use the feet a little bit more. So keeping both feet anchored to the floor, keeping the chest nice and broad, that length from the tailbone to the crown. Maybe the eyes even close. Last few deep breaths here. And then as you're ready, turning the chest down, bringing both hands to the floor, and step back to downward facing dog. You can stay in down dog, you can find child's pose, or come with me for a flow. Inhale, breath, shift forward to plank pose, and then lower to the belly. You can use the knees. Untuck the toes and then back bend with your inhale, and exhale, lower. And twice more, see if you can be a little lighter on the hands. Last one. Inhale, tabletop. And wherever you are, come and find your child's pose. Knees can be together or separate. And if for any reason child's pose isn't working right now, then maybe rock pose, seated, Anywhere else you need to be, stillness or movement. And you don't have to move until you feel ready to. And when you feel ready, we'll meet in downward facing dog. You can take a few breaths to get there as well if you need a little movement along the way or if there's a stretch that your body's asking for. As you find your down dog, anchor the hands and the feet. Hips are lifted, spine pointing downward. When you feel ready, inhale, lift the right leg all the way up behind, and then step the right foot forward between the hands, lower the back knee down, and then take a moment here to set yourself up. Maybe patting the back knee, maybe right foot to the right a little bit, maybe a block for the left hand, and maybe left hand a little further to the left to set up for your twists. When you feel ready, with an inhale, reach the right arm high. And then with your exhale, turn the chest down, wrap the right arm around the right leg. Inhale to open. And exhale to close. And keep going with your breath, maybe closing down the eyes. Inhale breath, reach the arm high. And then bring the right hand down with your exhale. You might shift the right foot a little bit to center, maybe taking the block to the right hand now. Lift the back knee up, spin the left heel to the floor, left toes point left. Right hand maybe to the inside of the right leg, any height setting, and we'll find our extended side angle. Really press the pinky toe edge of the left foot into the floor, and then find a rebound through the left fingertips. Stretch out the whole left side. Notice if the right shoulder, the right leg need any adjustment. You can let the hips be nice and heavy here. And maybe choosing stillness for part of it. Otherwise, as you feel ready to flow, inhale breath, come all the way up, extend the front leg, reverse triangle, stretch. And then exhale, sink the hips, bend the knee, left arm up and over. Inhale, come on up. And exhale, come back down. And keep going with your breath. Last couple. And a little different. Inhale, come on up, reverse triangle stretch. And then keep the front leg extended. Reach forward with your exhale. And then hinge for triangle. Any height setting for the block. Hips to the middle of the mat. Right arm can reach up, forward, or half bind if that's what you did on the first side. And again, check in. Notice how much weight's going into the right hand. Maybe you can use the feet pressing to the floor a little bit more. And chest broad, spine tall, gaze wherever it needs to be. Awesome. Left hand can find the floor, rebend the front knee, and then step back to downward facing dog. And stay here, find child's pose, or with an inhale, shift forward to plank, and lower to the belly. Untuck the toes, light on the fingertips, inhale, lift, and exhale, lower. And two more, option to hover the hands. Last one. And then hands press down, come up to tabletop, and then back to downward facing dog. And joining in down dog wherever you are. And then from here, we'll step forward and then come to a forward fold. You can bend the knees as much as you need here and find any bind that you like, or you can have the hands to the blocks. An option to be in more of a halfway lift shape if that's better for the spine. If you like a little movement, you can rock the torso, you can pedal the legs, maybe nod the head yes and no, releasing the neck, and be where you need to be. And see if you need a little more time in your forward fold. Otherwise, when you're ready, hands either to blocks or to the legs, and with an inhale, come to a halfway lift, lengthen the spine, and then sigh out the mouth, fold as you exhale. And again, inhale, and let it go. 3 more. Last one. Inhale, halfway lift. Now pause here with the exhale, press the feet to the floor. Inhale, come all the way up, circle the arms up towards the ceiling. If you're at all lightheaded, you can stay here with the arms lifted. And when you're ready, you can release the arms down to your sides and step into your mountain pose. You can lift the toes, spread them out a little bit. Maybe a rock forward and back on the feet. Find that balance between the heels and the toes. As the feet press down, find a rebound for the spine, maybe a little room for the chest. Maybe the shoulders can hang a little heavier. Notice the back line of the neck. If you have a tendency to stick the chin forward, maybe a slight tuck of the chin in towards the throat. Gaze can be steady, your eyes can be closed. Find your stillness and check in with the breath here. What does the air feel like as it flows in and out of the nose? Stillness for as long as you need. Otherwise, as you're ready, you might take the feet a little bit wider apart, maybe even as wide as the mat. And take the right hand to the right hip, reach the left arm towards the ceiling. And take a deep inhale. As you exhale, hips towards the left, top arm and torso towards the right, any amount. You can stay right here. You can also bend the top elbow, maybe catch the back of the head, and the right hand can be wherever you need it the most. Notice that the right shoulder stays comfortable and keep breathing into that stretch through the whole left side. With a strong belly, and come all the way back up. Release the arms for a moment. Let the shoulders be heavy. And we'll set up the second side. So left hand to the left hip, right arm towards the ceiling. And deep inhale, lengthen. And then hips to the right, torso towards the left. This side may feel a little different. You might need different support here. Maybe bending the top elbow, breathing into that whole right side. Strong belly, come all the way up. And then release the arms, let the shoulders be heavy. You might even rock the body side to side a little bit. As you're ready, coming back to center. And then from here, we'll turn the toes out and start to bend the knees to come and find a squat. And you take your time coming down, and straight away, we're going to be here for a few breaths. So if you'd rather make yourself a seat, if that takes pressure out of the knees and stuff, then you might choose that. You could also support the heels if they're not reaching the floor. Now, hands can stay down the whole time, and you can skip the twist that I'm going to add on. You can also have the hands in prayer and center. If you're coming with me for the twist, then take your right hand, right arm to the inside of the right knee and take it as far over towards the right as you can. And then maybe turning the chest towards the left. Now reach the left arm so that it's a continuation of where the right arm is pointing. One strong line from left hand to right. You can stay right here. Option for the half bind, maybe you're wrapping that right arm now around the right leg. And option to maybe bring the left hand, maybe the two hands can connect, or if you're using a strap, this is where it might be useful. And if this isn't working for you, then your regular squat is great too. Wherever you are, make sure you're still breathing. Maybe closing down the eyes. Awesome. If you have the bind, you can let that go. Either way, turn the chest back towards the floor. And now lift the hips, extend the legs, and fold over them. You can keep the legs nice and wide. You can rock yourself side to side here. You can alternate bending one knee, extending to bend the other, or maybe you want stillness. Awesome. And then as you're ready, we'll come back and find a second round of squat. So take a moment to set yourself up and see if you need to add any support. See if this side maybe feels a little different. If you're coming with me to the twist, then take the left arm to the inside of the left knee, as far over to the left as you can. And then right arm reaches up towards the ceiling. One strong line from left hand to right. You can stay right here. Maybe you're exploring the half bind, wrapping that left arm around the left knee. Maybe the full bind connecting right hand to the left hand. Wherever you are, keep breathing. Maybe close down the eyes. Awesome. If you have the bind, you can let that go. And then you can bring the hands behind you, lower the hips to the floor. It'll probably feel nice to windshield wiper the knees side to side a few times. Awesome. Have your heart blocks nearby just in case we need them. And then step the feet to the floor. Scoop the flesh of the bum out of the way to connect the sit bones down. And setting for boat pose here, so you can stay right here, have the spine tall, work with the breath. If you want, you can come to tippy toes, or you can play with lifting the legs up. Make sure that the shape works for your body. If you want to release the arms for more challenge or close down the eyes, then go for it. Find your breath wherever you are. Last couple deep breaths. Awesome. If the feet are lifted, you can lower them down. Bring the chest towards the thighs, and maybe let the head be heavy. Wrap the arms around the legs. Stillness or gentle rock here. Awesome. Lifting yourself back up. And now we'll lower all the way down onto the back. We'll keep the knees bent here with the feet roughly underneath them. If you're not sure, maybe you can just touch the backs of the heels. And we're going to set up for back bends, and we're going to take a couple rounds. For the first one, I'm going to talk through bridge pose. And then for the second one, I'm going to talk through wheel pose. So you can do bridge pose for both. You could do wheels pose for both if that's part of your practice. And you always have your heart blocks nearby. So if what you need the most is something a little more restorative, then feel free to come to a restorative bridge pose and you can stay here the whole time. Once you are completely finished, and maybe you finish sooner if you're not coming to wheel, because I'm going to talk through that one, you can exit and come and find butterfly. So recline butterfly, feet together, knees wide, and you can prop the knees any way you like. All right, so if you're coming with me for bridge pose first, then you can take the elbows by the rib cage, press the feet into the floor, press the elbows to the floor and the shoulders. And then when you're ready, with an inhale breath, start to lift the pelvis up any amount towards the ceiling. Straight away, check in with the knees, see if this works. Another option would be to be on tippy toe, or you can play with walking the feet a little further away or a little closer in to see if that helps as well. And from here, the elbows can stay exactly as they are. If you like, you can extend the arms and press the palms down. Maybe that helps you lift the hips a little higher. Or if you have the bind in you, you can walk the shoulder blades a little closer together so you can connect the hands. And keep breathing here. Maybe the face can soften a little bit, or the jaw. If you need a little more room to breathe, you could also tilt the head towards or the face towards the ceiling a little bit and give the windpipe more room. Notice if there's one specific muscle group that wants to take over and do all the work here. Maybe it's the quads or the glutes or somewhere else. And see if you can redistribute it so that everybody's taking their share of the load. Now, if you're in restorative bridge, you can stay right as you are. If you're with me in the active bridge, you can release the bind if you have it, and then slowly sequence the spine down to the floor. We'll pause in between rounds so you can take the feet a little wider and then rest the knees together, maybe hands somewhere on the body. And take a few deep breaths here. Take a scan through the body and just notice. And take a moment to check in and see what would benefit you the most for a next pose. If that's bridge pose or restorative bridge, then please come to either of those. If you're ready for reclined butterfly, you can find that. If your body's asking for a wheel pose and you're really familiar with the shape, you're welcome to come in whenever you're ready. If you're not quite familiar and you'd like to watch me do it first, then go for it. Generally, I'd suggest not kind of watching while you're doing it for the first time, because in back bends, we don't really want to be turning the head side to side. So if you're coming with me for wheel pose, then we'll set up the same way to begin with. So really set up the feet roughly underneath the knees, really anchor the feet into the floor. And then you can take the hands and bring them by the ears with the fingers pointing down towards the feet. If you have hair in the way, just get it out of the way because that will hurt. We're going to come partway up and rest briefly on the top of the head. So that's your chance to readjust the hands. So if the heels of the hands aren't quite reaching the floor, then don't worry about it. And check in here. Press the hands down, even the shoulders. Press the feet down to the floor. And then when you're ready, we'll start to lift the pelvis and then lift the top of the head down to the floor. We won't stay long. Don't put too much weight onto it. But if you need to adjust the hands now, go for it. And then pressing the hands and feet down, lift the rest of the way up. Belly button towards the ceiling, head nice and heavy. You might notice where the weight is. If it's way over the shoulders, maybe you can press the hands down, bring it further back, or vice versa. Make sure you're breathing here. Notice the flow of the breath in and out of the nose. Last few deep breaths. If you'd like a little more time, then go for it. Otherwise, coming out the way you came in, chin towards the chest, lower now to the top of the shoulders. Release the hands, let the pelvis come down. And then wherever you are, you can come out. Meet on the back with the feet wide, the knees together. And take a pause here. Let the spine release. All right, only when you feel ready to. Look around for your heart block. Walk the feet almost all the way together, and then you can take the heart block maybe on the thinnest setting between the thighs. From here, scoot the hips over towards the left, and then let the knees lower towards the right for a twist. If you need to use your prop a little differently, or if you need to adjust the shoulders or anything, then go for it. Maybe taking the arms out to a T shape. And check in here, see if anything in the body needs a little adjustment or maybe a little extra padding or anything, you can add that in. Maybe taking the gaze down towards the left. can bring the head back to center, and then slowly lift the knees back, bring the hips back to center as well. And we'll set straight for the second side, so if you need to adjust your props, then go for it. Hips towards the right now, knees down towards the left. Adjusting anything else that you need in the pose, using your props any way that you need. Once you've settled in, you might take the gaze down towards the right. Be with your breath. Be with whatever you're feeling in the body. Bring the gaze to center and then over towards the left. And then lift the right shoulder up. Come to lying down on your left-hand side. And take a pause here for a few breaths. You can move your block out of the way, and then when you're ready, come up to any comfortable seated position. Awesome. And then from your seat, we're going to set up for a forward fold. I'm going to talk through a wide-legged forward fold, or you could do a butterfly fold. So just listen to your body and see what works best. Either way, it might be helpful to lift the hips a little bit, give your spine just a little more room. If you're coming with me in a wide-legged fold, then take the feet as wide apart as feels comfortable in your body. And then check in here, see if this feels really effortful, just to keep yourself upright, then maybe add a little more height to the hips. If this feels too intense anywhere in the body, or if you're experiencing any pain here, then take the other option of bring the soles of the feet together for butterfly. And with butterfly, you could have the feet close by or further away. Either way, setting yourself up for your shape. And if you'd like to stay upright, then you're welcome to. If you want to have your blocks nearby, they may come in handy as well. As we come to fold forward, then you can hinge from the hips, leading with the chest. Maybe the floor feels a little far away, so you can have the hands to blocks. Maybe the elbows can come down. It's okay to round the spine a bit here too, especially for the upper back if that feels like a nice stretch. Might be a nice counter stretch to wheel pose if you came with me for that. So that's all fine. Just make sure that there's no pulling. If you are rounding the spine, let it be as passive as you can. And either way, if you want to let the head hang heavy, then go for it. There's always an option to bend the knees a little bit here. I find keeping the feet flexed and maybe even the toes pointing slightly behind just makes this feel more accessible for the hips as well. So feel free to play around, making any adjustments that you need to the shape, and then come and find your stillness in it as you're ready. See if you can be with whatever you're feeling here. See if you benefit from a little more time in your fold, and you're welcome to stay. Otherwise, with the support of the hands, slowly start to lift yourself up. Lengthen the spine here. You might lean back on the fingertips and puff the chest up for a counter stretch. Maybe wiggle the shoulders, the spine a little bit side to side. If you're in butterfly, you can help the knees together. From your wide-legged stance, you can help a bend to the knees, and then maybe windshield wiper the knees side to side. Awesome. As you're windshield wipering, the next time the knees come down to the left, you can pause here and then roll all the way into that shape. So setting up for a deer pose, sometimes called 90-90, and see how you want to use your props for this. So top shin mostly parallel to the top edge, right shin mostly parallel to the right edge. If you're leaning over towards the left quite a bit, then support that left hip. See if you can find a little more sense of balance side to side. Likewise, if the knee is sensitive, especially the back one, sometimes propping it both to elevate or even for padding can be useful. Sometimes it helps to keep the feet flexed as well to help stabilize the knees. You can also play with bringing the feet a little closer to the body, one or both. So take your time just to find your version of the shape. And then if this feels like plenty, you can hold it. Otherwise, think about folding over the front shin. And you can explore to see which fold feels the best, so a little more towards the knee, towards the center, or more towards the foot. And listen to your body, and you can use whatever props you have free, maybe to support the forehead, or maybe to bring the elbows down onto. And come and find your pain-free expression. So if you are feeling pinching or anything like that, then adjust around, find the spot that feels a little more easeful. As you feel ready to exit, use the support of your hands to lift yourself up. You can move the block out from under the left hip if you're using it, and then roll back onto the hips. And give yourself a gentle windshield wiper side to side. And when you feel ready, as the knees come down towards the right side this time, come and set up for the second round. Maybe a prop for the right hip. This side may feel completely different as well, so it may need you to use your props a little differently. Let's see if anything needs padding or adjusting. And when you feel ready to fold, see where you want to fold for this side. And again, it might feel a little different, so you're welcome to mirror whatever you did on the first side exactly. You can also listen to your body, and if this side needs something a little different, then feel free to find that instead. Either way, coming to settle into your fold as you feel ready. And slowly, as you're ready, start to lift yourself back up. And rolling back onto the hips, moving any props out of the way. And then one last gentle windshield wiper side to side. Awesome. And then scoot your way back around to center. We're going to lower down onto the back. Just have your props nearby in case you need them. And you can come down any way that you like. We'll set up for a rest pose here. So option for Shavasana to find a reclined butterfly. You can do soles of the feet together, knees wide, maybe a prop underneath each leg. You could also have the legs extended here or be in any other comfortable symmetrical expression. Take a moment to settle the shoulder blades underneath you. Arms can be wherever they feel the most comfortable. If you need to make any other adjustments in your space, then go for it. If your body's feeling a little fidgety, then if there's any movement that helps you settle in, feel free to find that for a few breaths. When you feel ready, starting to let go here, finding a sense of rest. Gently deepen the breath to reawaken the body. And perhaps reaching down with the hands to bring the knees together. Perhaps extending the legs long down the mat. Maybe reaching the arms high up the mat. Finding a full body stretch here. And then you can bring the knees into the chest and wrap the arms around them. Give yourself a squeeze. Maybe the forehead comes up towards the knees. Gentle rock side to side. Maybe this becomes a gentle rock up and down the spine, mindful of the neck. Then with a little momentum, coming up to find any comfortable seated position. Use any of your props and sit however you feel the most comfortable. Notice what's touching the floor, gently ground it. Find that rebound through the spine. A little length for the back of the neck, a little softness for the shoulders. And take that scan through the body just to notice. Notice the breath. Notice the flow of air through the nostrils. What does that air feel like? How would you describe it to yourself? And when you're ready, you can bring the hands to center and bow the chin in towards the chest. Thank you for sharing your breath and your energy today. Namaste. Thank you for joining me for your Hatha practice. And my name is Nicholas. If you have any questions, please reach out and enjoy the rest of your week.